traditions.
Ron Cantor is an American Jew from Virginia who had a bar mitzvah and a Jewish upbringing.
I couldn't have listed for you all the tenets of Judaism, but I knew what we didn't believe in. We did not believe in Jesus.
Until a sudden car accident with his Christian friend literally turned his world upside down.
We're fine. The car is totaled. We walked to the only house within miles, and these two people were believers in Jesus. I didn't understand what they were talking about, but the power and presence of God just came all over me physically, to the point that I realized that this is real. We need to stand in faith and believe God.
Little did he know this turning point moment would land him in Israel, spreading what he calls his message of Jesus the Jew and the Messiah.
As I'm reading the New Testament now for the first time, I'm stunned. Everybody's Jewish. Now, I knew Jesus was a Jew. I didn't know that Paul the Apostle was a Jewish rabbi. I didn't know that John the Baptist was actually not Baptist, but a Jewish prophet. Peter, John, Matthew, all these guys were Jewish. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach.
Ron is a leader of Tiferet Yeshua, a Tel Aviv Messianic Jewish congregation that meets during the week and has Shabbat services.
Now, as Messianic Jews, we believe that Yeshua, Jesus, that he was the ultimate Yom Kippur sacrifice, or Passover lamb, that he died for the sins of Israel and for the world.
What is the main difference between Messianic Judaism and Judaism?
So the big difference is that traditional Judaism believes that you can work yourself into heaven by doing enough good stuff. Messianic Judaism believes that we are all lost, that there's no good work that you could do that would be enough. We needed somebody to come and to take our punishment, and that's what Yeshua did.
There are nearly 20,000 Messianic Jews living in Israel. Recent paintings by American-Israeli artist Ronit Joy Holtz reflect the need to keep their beliefs a secret. Other works portray the Jewish historical accounts of Jesus' disciples after his resurrection.
We were at the tomb, and he's alive. He's risen. And they're like, oh, come on, be quiet. You're delirious. And they go and they check, and they find out that he is alive. And they don't know what to make of it all. And it's kind of funny. So many Christians don't realize that the reason there were thousands of Jews in Jerusalem that day were because of Shavuot. They think Shavuot, or Pentecost, is a new Christian holiday, but it goes back to Moses, of course.
Ron believes the great split between Judaism and early Christianity happened right here at the house of Simon the Tanner in Jaffa.
We know it for sure because it's written in English right there. It says House of Simon the Tanner in spray paint. Peter was right here before this thing went steroids all over the world.
Acts 10 says Peter raised a woman named Tabitha from the dead, followed by a prophetic dream about allowing Romans and other non-Jewish nations to eat non-kosher animals, since Judaism did not allow Gentiles to become Jews without getting circumcised and immersed in the waters of a ritual bath called a mikvah.
And the Spirit of God falls on these Gentiles, and they start praying in unknown languages. And so Peter's like, okay, come on, this is too much. Clearly God is in this. Who can prevent these Gentiles from being baptized? And they take them out and they immerse them in water. It's funny, though, because it was controversial. Peter got in big trouble for baptizing Gentiles.
Ron, also an author of several books, believes Jesus is a victim of identity theft, and that Christianity is a replacement theology that began in Rome when the Jews were kicked out in 49 AD for 5 years. And Paul was warning against anti-Semitism of the day.
When the Jews left, they took the Bible with them. There was no other Bible than the Tanakh, and they were in scrolls. Believe it or not, they didn't have iPhones, no iPads. These Gentiles with no Bible decided that they were going to come up with a new theology, and that was that God is against the Jews. Romans chapter 11 is the primary chapter where he asks twice, has God rejected Israel? And then he says in the Greek, it's literally, no, may it never be. And of course, Jeremiah said that the only way God will ever reject Israel is if the sun stops shining and the stars stop shining and the moon stops doing what it does. Only then would God reject Israel.
And what is Ron's overall message to the entire Christian world?
You need to love the Jewish people. The Bible says in Romans 11:11 that salvation has come to the nations, the Gentiles. Not that we're perfect. Anybody who's read our history, it's that God is faithful to his covenant and faithful to his promise.
Emily Francis, I24 News.